Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Radha Madhava Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Gopijana Vallabha Girivardhari Gopijana Vallabha Girivardhari Yashodanandana Bhajana Ranjana Yashodanandana Bhajana Ranjana Jamuna Tira Vanachari Jamuna Tira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Gopijana Vallabha Girivardhari Yashodanandana Bhajana Ranjana Yashodanandana Bhajana Ranjana Jamuna Tira Vanachari Jamuna Tira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Nitya Gora Haribo Haribo Jagora Haribo Jaya Prabhupada Srila Prabhupada Jaya Prabhupada Jai
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. A reading from Bhagavad Gita as it is, chapter 14, text 27, the three modes of material nature. Brahmano hi pratisthaham amitasya sachaya cha shashvatasya cha dharam cha sukhashaikantikasya cha Brahmano hi pratisthaham amitasya vyasayascha shashvatasya cha dharamyasya sukhashaitankitasya cha Brahmano hi pratisthaham amitasya vyasya cha shashvatasya cha dharamyasya sukhashaikantitasya cha Brahmano hi pratisthaham Jashitasya sarayasya cha Shashvatasya cha dharamasya Sukhashaikantikasya cha Sukhashaikantikasya cha Brahmano hi pratisthaham Amritasya vyatasya cha Shashvatasya dharmasya Sukhashaikantikasya cha Brahmano hi pratisthaham Amritasya vyatasya cha Shashvatasya dharmasya Sukhashaikantikasya cha Brahmano hi pratisthaham Amitasya vyasya cha Shashvatasya dharmasya Sukhashaikantikasya cha Brahmano hi pratisthaham Amitasya vyasya cha Shashvatasya dharmasya Sukhashaikantikasya cha Brahmano hi pratisthaham Amitasya vyasya cha Shashvatasya dharmasya Sukhashaikantikasya cha Brahmano hi pratisthaham Amitasya vyasya cha Shashvatasya dharmasya Sukhashaikantikasya cha. Ladies. Brahmano hi pratisthaham Amitasya vyasya cha Shashvatasya Dharmasya Shukashai Ankikasya Cha Brahmano hi pratishtaham Amitasya Brayasya Cha Shashvatasya Dharmasya Shukashai Kantikasya Cha Brahmanaha of the impersonal Brahmajyoti. He certainly. Pratishtaha, the rest. Aham, I am. Amritasya, of the immortal. Avyayasya, of the imperishable. Cha, also. Shatvatasya, of the eternal. Cha, and. Dharmasya, of the constitutional position. Sukasya, of happiness. Aikantitasya, ultimate. Cha, also. Translation. And I am the basis of the impersonal Brahman, which is immortal, imperishable, and eternal, and is the constitutional position of ultimate happiness. Please repeat. And I am the basis of the impersonal Brahman, which is immortal, imperishable, and eternal, and is the constitutional position of ultimate happiness. Purport by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. The constitution of Brahman is immortality, imperishability, eternity, and happiness. Brahman is the beginning of transcendental realization. Paramatma, the Supersoul, is the middle, the second stage in transcendental realization. And the Supreme Personality of Godhead is the ultimate realization of the Absolute Truth. Therefore, both the Paramatma and the impersonal Brahman are within the Supreme Person. It is explained in the 7th chapter that material nature is the manifestation of the inferior energy of the Supreme Lord. The Lord impregnates the inferior material energy with fragments of the superior energy, and that is the spiritual touch in the material nature. When a living entity conditioned by this material nature begins the cultivation of spiritual knowledge, he elevates himself from the position of material existence and gradually rises up to the Brahman conception of the Supreme. This attainment of the Brahman conception of life is the first stage in self-realization. At this stage, the Brahman realized person is the transcendental to the material position, but he is not actually perfect in Brahman realization. If he wants, he can continue to stay in the Brahman position and then gradually rise up to the Paramatma realization, and then to the realization of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. There are many examples of this in Vedic literature. The 4 Kumaras were situated first in the impersonal Brahman conception of truth, but then they gradually rose to the platform of devotional service. One who cannot elevate himself beyond the impersonal conception of Brahman runs the risk of falling down. In Srimad Bhagavatam, it is stated that although a person may rise to the stage of impersonal Brahman, without going further, no information of the Supreme Person, his intelligence is not perfectly clear. Therefore, in spite of being raised to the Brahman platform, there is the chance of falling down if one is not engaged in the devotional service of the Lord. In the Vedic language, it is also said, Rasavaisa rasam hi avyam labvandandi bhavati. When one understands the personality of Godhead, the reservoir of pleasure, Krishna, he actually becomes transcendently blissful. Taittiriya Upanishad 271. The Supreme Lord is full in 6 opulences, and when a devotee approaches him, there is an exchange of these 6 opulences. The servant of the king enjoys on an almost equal level with the king. And so eternal happiness, imperishable happiness, and eternal life accompany devotional service. Therefore, realization of Brahman, or eternity, or imperishability, is included in devotional service. This is already possessed by a person who is engaged in devotional service. The living entity, although Brahman by nature, has the desire to lord it over the material world, and due to this, he falls down. In his constitutional position, a living entity is above the 3 modes of material nature. But association with material nature entangles him in the different modes of material nature: goodness, passion, and ignorance. Due to the association of these 3 modes, his desire is to dominate the material world is there. By engagement in devotional service and full Krishna consciousness, he is immediately situated in the transcendental position, and his lawful desire to control material nature is removed. Therefore, the process of devotional service, beginning with hearing, chanting, remembering, the prescribed 9 methods for realizing devotional service, should be practiced in the association of devotees. Gradually, by such association, by the influence of the spiritual master, one's material desire to dominate is removed, and one becomes firmly situated in the Lord's transcendental loving service. This method is prescribed from the 22nd to the last verse of this chapter. Devotional service of the Lord is very simple. One should always engage in the service of the Lord, should eat the remnants of foodstuffs offered to the deity, smell the flowers offered to the Lord, the lotus feet of the Lord, see the places where the Lord has his transcendental pastimes, read of the different activities of the Lord, his reciprocation of love with his devotees, chant always the transcendental vibration, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, and observe the fasting days commemorating the appearances and disappearances of the Lord and his devotees. By following such a process, one becomes completely detached from all material activities. One who can thus situate himself in the Brahma Jyoti, or the different varieties of the Brahman conception, is equal to the Supreme Personality of Godhead in quality. Thus end the Bhaktivedanta purports to the 14th chapter of Srimad Bhagavad Gita in the matter of the 3 modes of material nature. Om Jnana Timidandasya Ganangana Chalakaya Chaksharan Militam Jena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. So, again, one of Srila Prabhupada's very elaborate purports, describing so many different factors of devotional service. But we see Prabhupada is saying the process of devotional service beginning with hearing, chanting and remembering. The prescribed 9 methods for realizing devotional service should be practiced in the association of devotees. This is crucial. We cannot operate alone, we cannot work alone. Elevated devotees, lower level devotees, initiated devotees, non-initiated devotees, regardless, we all need each other. We all need each other to guide each other on the devotional path. Prabhupada gives the example, on many occasions, when you take the kuni, you want to light your fire, you want to do your havan, you take the kuni and you put the sticks on the fire, and it's very easy to light the fire. But it's also very easy to break those kuni. They're very small. You're starting off your havan, you start off with very small sticks. And you break them one by one. You put them on the havan, you begin the fire, and then gradually you add on bigger and bigger and bigger kuni. So breaking one by one is very simple. Child can do. But you put all those kuni together, you tie in a bundle, even an elephant cannot break. So we're all weak. We're all influenced by the material energy. Whether we're in the mode of goodness, passion, or ignorance, it's irrelevant. We can also be influenced by the mode of goodness. So we have to rise above all the three modes and become transcendental. We use this word transcendental, it's a lot. Transcend, rise above the material plane. And how do we do that? First of all, by understanding I'm not the body. I'm spirit soul. I'm part and parcel of the Supreme Lord. So as Prabhupada says here in the purport, the Lord impregnates the material energy with his minute particles. So we are one of those minute particles. But we must not forget, we are the same minute particle as the doo-doo that's crawling on the floor. We're in a different state of consciousness, that is a fact, but we are in the same minute particle. So what is that minute particle? That minute particle, that is spirit. Without the spirit, there can be nothing. Without the spirit, there's non-existence, completely dead matter. Unless it is impregnate, life comes from life. That is one of Srila Prabhupada's most famous books that we distribute all over the world. And he had that same debate, life comes from life, was brought into that book with George Harrison, one of the Beatles. So life comes from life. Without life, there is nothing. And that life is the spirit soul. We can spend our whole lives living with someone, father, mother, son, daughter, husband, wife, and never know that person in essence. We only know the form, the external form. And that's what we relate to. So we relate to that external form without ever knowing the essence of the person, of who it is. Recently, just before I came here, before I came to Kenya, of course, these days I very rarely visit my home country, Ireland. I go mostly these days for funerals. The people, the older generation, they're dying. I'm a part of the older generation now, so the generation before me, they're all gone. So the last member of the older generation died just before Christmas last year. So of course I had to go to Ireland for the funeral. And in Ireland, a funeral is a very big celebration of that person's life. It's very much unlike Hindu funerals or funerals in Africa. We celebrate that person's life, and the body is kept in the home overnight, and then the next day brought to the church, and then that day is buried. Very quickly it happens. But the body is kept overnight, and people tell stories about that person and how he lived and what he did, and people, drink and everything, and they stay up all night. That's what's called a wake. So they have a wake. So there's the body in the coffin, all dressed up nice, shirt, suit, tie, everything like that. And then the wife starts to lament, and people, as they drink more, they become melancholy and they start lamenting, oh, he's gone, he's gone, he's gone. Where's our uncle? Where's my husband? Where's my father? Where's my son? I said, no, what do you mean he's gone? He's right there in the coffin, lying there in front of us. Where's the question of him gone? So people say, no, he's gone. So there's this there is this concept that something is gone. Something is no longer there. But that is not explained. There is no science in the Abrahamic scriptures to explain that. But people have this innate idea that something is gone. What is the essence of that something? How can you say he's gone? The same eyes, the same nose, the same ears, the same hair, the same face, it's there, right in front of you. So what is gone? That is the soul. So people don't understand that. So they go through the whole life living with somebody and never understanding this person is spirit, soul, part and parcel of the Supreme Lord. Because we all relate to the body. And as a result of that, then we lose the essence of what life is all about. the two most important days in our life. The day we were born and the day we begin to question, why? Why was I born? And then our life actually begins from that point in time. Up to that time, we're just a lump of flesh, which is going through the motions of pretending to be alive, but there's nothing actually there. So in the association of devotees, we can actually make the progress on the path of spiritual realization. And this idea of Brahman conception, and then Paramatma, and then full realization of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, again, Prabhupada gives the example. It's like when you see in the distance a train is coming at night. And first of all, you see the light of the train. So then you just see this light coming towards you. And then gradually, as it approaches you, then you see the locomotive. And then gradually, as it pulls into the station, you can see, oh, it's made up of so many carriages, there are so many people, there's so much identity related to it. But from a distance, it looks just like a light that is approaching. And there's no idea that, what is it? What is it? Is it a train? Is it just a flying saucer? Is it a rocket? What is there? What is coming? Gradually, as the realization dawns on you that it's actually a train with a locomotive and the carriages and so many people involved who have a personality. So that is a natural realization that approaches. So similarly, with our realization of the Supreme Lord, that realization gradually dawns on us as we make progress in spiritual life. One who cannot elevate himself beyond the impersonal conception of Brahman runs the risk of falling down. So we can't elevate ourselves beyond the concept of seeing the light in the distance, and we don't get any actual realization of the reality, then we run the risk of going in the wrong direction and making the wrong conclusion. So ultimately, we have to accept the Supreme Lord as a person. And this is the only philosophy which propounds that idea. The Supreme Personality of Godhead is a person with likes and dislikes, just like we have likes and we have dislikes. It is said in the Bible that Jesus sits at the right hand of the Father. So if Jesus is sitting at the right hand of the Father, then how is this idea there that God does not have any form? In order for Jesus to sit at the right hand of the Father must have a right hand. And the same thing is there in the Quran. And the same thing is there in the Talmud. But there's no idea of God as a person. You say, yeah, God is great and God is up in the sky and God is this and God is that. But the idea of God as a person with likes and dislikes. Someone who steals butter, makanchor, how can this be God? Somebody who cheats, somebody who lies. So this is God. He has a personality. He broke his vow not to participate in the war in Kurukshetra. He broke his vow for the sake of his devotee. He took a vrat, I will not participate in this war. But yet when the time came and Bhishma was going to kill Arjuna, he immediately jumped down off the chariot and took the wheel up to kill Bhishma. And then Bhishma just immediately gave up. That's all he wanted to see. Because God is a person. He's also prone to anger. He's prone to love. He's prone to depression. He's prone to ecstasy. He has all the attributes. We have all the attributes that the Supreme Lord has, but in minute quantity. Because we relate as devotees, as aspiring devotees, we relate to the Lord as a person, not as some kind of impersonal void. That's why we worship the deity. And there's so much reciprocation with the deity. We all know the story of Shakshi Gopal, the witness deity. An impossible situation for a deity to go walking hundreds of miles to participate in the witness of an event that took place between an old Brahmin and his young servant. And when the young servant went to the deity, Shakshi Gopal, to beg him to come as his witness, the deity said to the boy, "How on earth can I go as a witness? Who ever heard of a walking deity?" And the boy answered very logically, "Who ever heard of a talking deity?" So now you're talking to me, so if you can talk, you can also walk. So this is the way of the Lord. The Lord reciprocates with the love of his devotee. He doesn't see the offering of the flower or the leaf or the fruit or the water. Yes, it says patram pushpam palam tayam, but he sees the motivation behind what we are offering. So that love, the Lord is absolutely crazy for our love. Just before I came, my grandchildren came to wish me well and to see me off. They're very young. I have 2 grandchildren. So they came with my son and his wife to wish me off and to say goodbye and so on and so forth. And of course, I opened the door, and as soon as I opened the door, my grandchildren, both girls, they want to jump up into my arms and they want to practically knock me to the floor. And they're so happy, "Granddad, Granddad, Granddad." They just run and they jump, innocent, completely and totally innocent. So imagine they're running towards me, ready to jump into my arms. They want a big hug from their grandfather, and I just turn my back on them and just ignore them. This is what we're doing with Krishna. Krishna is running towards us. It's not a one-sided relationship where the devotee is just giving, 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 and there's nothing coming back. We imagine that it's just one-sided. But Krishna is wanting our love as much as we want his. It's a relationship of reciprocation. But at the moment, we are separated from that loving exchange because we hold ourselves back. We are our own worst enemy. But as soon as we get off that bodily concept of life and actually engage in the process of devotional service, then and only then can we engage in loving exchange with the Lord. And that is our right. That is open to all of us. We say that every time we chant our japa. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda, Shri Advaita Gadadhar, Shrivasadi, Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. We are the Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. We are part of the movement of Lord Chaitanya. This is our life. This is our soul. And we don't need anything else. And we do this in the association of devotees. And this way we gain strength. When we're faltering, when we may be having doubts about certain aspects of our life, then we consult with each other in a loving exchange, in a mood of confidence. And we exchange our doubts, and we churn this ocean of devotion for what it is. It's a complete ocean of devotion, where there is no commotion and nothing but promotion to the spiritual world. We just have to stick with the process. Prabhupada gives the example on so many occasions when a rich man, he gives his wealth to the inheritance to his son. The only thing the son has to do to take full advantage of the inheritance that he has gotten from his father is stay alive. That's all he has to do. He just has to stay alive. And that's all we have to do. We simply have to stay alive. Stay with the process. Stick with the process of devotional service. It's a process of sadhana bhakti, step by step by step process. And the more we stick with the process, the more we gain from it. Why does Krishna say in the 10th chapter, Tesham satata yuktanam bhajyatam pritipurvakam dadami buddhiyogam tam yenamam upayanti te? To those who are constantly devoted to serving me with love, I give the understanding by which they can come to me. So if someone is already devoted, constantly devoted, Krishna says, constantly devoted to serving him with love, why would they need any understanding by which they can come to him? They're already constantly devoted to serving him. Because it goes deeper and deeper and deeper and deeper. And the more we surrender to the process, the more Krishna reveals, and the more we understand, then the more he reveals again, and then we engage in that level of devotional service, and then the more Krishna reveals, and that goes on forever. It is stated that Srimati Radharani, she never cooks the same preparation for Krishna more than once. Constantly preparing new preparations constantly, every single day, every moment in time. And Krishna is just, he cannot even repay the loving devotional mood of the gopis. That's why at the Battle of Kurukshetra, when Krishna was giving out gifts and giving benedictions and blessings to so many people, when it came to the gopis, he said, there's nothing I can give you. There's nothing I can offer. The only thing I can give you is your service. He said, I'm bereft, I'm completely devoid of any possessions that can in any way reward you for all the loving exchanges that you have offered me. This is the Supreme Lord himself. And we know the story of Sadama Brahman. When he brought his little bag of chipped rice to offer to Krishna, he was so ashamed. That was all he had to offer. But Krishna saw him hiding it behind his back. Immediately Krishna grabbed it and started eating the lumps of broken chipped rice. And the goddess of fortune had to stop Krishna and say, no, you can't eat any more. If you eat any more, we won't be able to repay him, because Krishna was just absorbed. He wasn't interested. The same with Vidura. Vidura's wife was offering banana skins to Krishna. And Krishna was just eating the banana skins. And she thought that she was offering bananas to Krishna. But instead she was offering the skins in total ecstasy of love of God. She didn't know what she was doing. So this is the transcendental position. This is where we go beyond the bodily concept, where we go beyond the norms of social etiquette, and just completely and totally surrender to the Lord. Ishvara Parama Krishna Satchitananda Vigraha. Just surrender to the Lord. There are many, many incarnations of the Lord. Prabhupada says in the 18th chapter, verse 65, I think it is. Yes. There are descriptions of Krishna found in Brahma Samhita and other literatures. One should fix his mind on this original form of Godhead, Krishna. One should not even divert his attention to other forms of the Lord. The Lord has multi-forms as Vishnu, Narayan, Ram, Varaha, etc. But a devotee should concentrate his mind on the form that was present before Arjuna. Concentration of the mind on the form of Krishna constitutes the most confidential part of knowledge, and this is disclosed to Arjuna because Arjuna is the most dear friend of Krishna. So we are all the dear friends of Krishna. And as we concentrate our mind on this form of the Lord, he reveals himself more and more and more. And the more that's why every single bead of our japa mala should be a total focus on the sound vibration of the holy name. There are 32 syllables in the mantra. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. How many of us chant 28 syllables? Or even less? Because we're not focused. Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he says, I cannot even conceive, I cannot understand for a second how much nectar is contained between those two syllables, Krishna. This is the Lord himself. So if we just go through our Japamala, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, and we don't hear anything, we have one tongue, Krishna is dancing on our tongue, and the sound vibration of the holy name goes into 2 ears, and that allows us to capture the Lord and put him in our heart. So we become his ultimate servant. And then in that way we dedicate our lives to the total and complete service of the chanting of the holy names of the Lord. That's when the ecstasy begins to take place. We have to concentrate on the chanting of the holy names. There is no other way, there is no other way, there is no other way. But then we will think, oh no, maybe there is, maybe if I sneak this way or sneak that way, I can actually gain something. No. Harinam, 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 Eva Kevalam, Kalo, Nashta Eva, Nashta Eva, Nashta Eva, Gataranyata. We have it all. We have everything. The whole process has been handed to us on a plate by Srila Prabhupada. Simply chant, dance, sing, take a little prasadam. When you're tired, take a little rest. Where's the difficulty? Where is the difficulty? We imagine so many problems are there. There aren't any problems. We just have to dive in. Jai Shri Rukmini Dwakari Sitaram Lakshman Hanuman Shri Konitai Ki Jai. In the 14th verse, chapter 9, Satatam Kirtayantomam Yatantascha Dridha Vrata. This is the vow. This is the real vow. Krishna says twice in that same shloka, always, without cessation. Satatam kirtayantomam yatantascha dridha vrata namasyanchas tamam bhakya nitya yukta upashyate. But what is the precondition? We have to take a vow with determination, a dridha vrat. We take this vrat, we take this vow. Krishna knows that the material energy is strong. It may be stronger than us, but we can overcome that with the help of the Lord. So take this vow with determination and stick with the process, always chanting my glories, endeavoring with great determination, bowing down before me, these great souls perpetually worship me with devotion. So this is the secret. Why is it called the most confidential knowledge? How can it be confidential? We distribute millions of these books all over the world. Where's the question of confidence? Confidential? Why would it be confidential? We're distributing in so many languages all over the world. Millions and millions of these books are going out every day. Confidential in the sense that we have to give our heart to the process. When we give our heart to the process, no more death, no more disease, no more old age, no more birth. Prabhupada said, we've gone through so many janma, so many lifetimes of suffering. Just dedicate this one lifetime to the service of the Lord. What do we have to lose? Absolutely nothing. So thank you very much for giving your time, for coming here this evening. It's very kind. It's nice to see so many people coming. It's very, very nice. Midweek. This is wonderful to see. It's, Amrit Krishna Prabhu and myself, we've been so enlivened since we arrived here to see so many really nice souls coming, participating in the arti, participating in the singing and the dancing, and listening to the class. It's very, very encouraging. It's very encouraging for us to see how Srila Prabhupada has planted these seeds and they're bearing so much fruit. It's wonderful. You are part of the Samahatma Sadurlabha. You are part of the great souls who are indeed very rare. And it's great to see it. It's encouraging for us. It helps us to also move forward and think of ways and means of encouraging more people to join and participate in the process. That's all we want. That's all Prabhupada wanted. The more the merrier. So spread the word. Everybody you meet, speak to them about Krishna. Bring them to the temple. And this way we're all gain. Where none of us are losing. We all gain everything. Thank you very much. Any questions or comments? Thank you. Haribol. Please.
You mentioned the word kuni.
Yes.
That's a Swahili word, so I was not sure. Have you spent some time in Kenya?
He knows he can speak fully Swahili.
Acha. Okay. So I was telling him kuni. He said kuni. That is Swahili. And why is Prabhu? How does he know that word?
Mimi najua kidogo tu.
30 years back, he was Pujari of Rukmini Dwarka.
Wow. Yeah, you had mentioned that yesterday. I could not quite catch that yesterday.
He preached a lot here, Kismu, Nirmi.
Wow. And where do you stay now, Prabhuji? You said you don't stay in Ireland.
Mimi natoka Kisumu. So I came here first time in 1979, and I stayed until the coup in 82, and then I left, went to America, and did the Leela Amrita for Satrup Maharaj, my guru, and then I came back here in 87. So I even have a kipandi from that time, from 87, because I was living here full time. And then I left again in 98, went to England, and I was running the Soho Street London temple for a few years. And then I moved to Birmingham, where I've been ever since. And now I'm back, I've retired, I'm back in Kenya full time. So that's my plan. So I didn't mean to use the word kuni, it just came into my head. And I didn't realize I was using a Swahili word. My apologies, sorry.
No, that's how we knew we could ask you a question.
Jai. Very, very nice. Great to see so many families coming with their children. It's wonderful. Very nice, close community. It's great to see. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Hare Krishna. Jai. Jai, thank you.